Good day. Today was thinking about a book that I read a while back called The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. And the story is about these different books and this different prophecy. I mean, it's been a while since I read it, but so I won't go into it too much. But the idea is there's it teaches you about catching the wave in a sense. There's more to it than this, but it catches a wave of the universe, like catching the actual flow of where you should be in your life. And what I mean should be is like being on destiny's path rather than the path that is the Babylon has provided. Because when you're just waking up for someone else, you're just a cog in the destiny of somebody else. And that's how you can really lose your identity, because you start to form just these kind of routines that turn us into robots. And so when we can be in the moment more, when we are always thinking of the future and the past, that's like our paternal brain, that's our left brain. There's times for that, because there's times when we have to, really work with that part of the brain. But then there's training the brain to know that we should mostly be still, till God or the world has shown us a task that we need to be left-brained about. And so what happens then too is that you'll start to notice these little voices that chime up from your subconscious. The subconscious is connected to your right brain. Like it's the shadow, it's the unconscious is your right brain, right? So anything that comes in from the unconscious into the subconscious can be drowned out and not noticed. And those are really important things to catching the wave of the universe, is grabbing those subconscious thoughts that come out of the ether. But when you are still, and that means not filled with thoughts, little subconscious feeling will come up, percolate up from the unconscious, and you'll be like, what was that? And you'll bring it out of the subconscious and make it conscious. Get a little feeling and you go, what was that? And you notice it and you try to grab it instead of sail by it. Say it was a person came to your mind. It's like, oh, maybe I should call that person. Or maybe it's you wake up in the morning and you have like an instant feeling that you want to go and do something, right? It's like the universe at that moment gave you that feeling, right? It's not a plan. Then if you grab it and you go, that's where you're catching that wave. And as I've been doing this summer and being just very maternal and just being very trying to not have much plans and just go with the flow, I've been linking up with these really powerful people and just randomly linking up with them. And I'm seeing now that even yesterday we were sitting at the beach and just talking about the Lord and like different ways people perceive the Lord and names that they call the Lord and all these things. And I said, Gitchi Manitou, which is Cree for the Creator. And just then, the guy that taught me that calls up Lance, who's another guy that we just randomly have been walking into, and he's been doing like the flow with the wind thing too. And then I run into Daryl, and we used to make music together back in the day, but he's gone through a big awakening, and he's now like living the narrow path also. And Lance is going for that exact same thing. And right then, Running Wolf calls up, and he's the guy that taught me about Gitchi Manitou. So just as I said it, another person that I didn't know we were all connected to calls in. So we're sitting there, and there's four of us that just got pulled together by the cosmos and all walking the narrow path and like really able to speak deep, long conversations together. It's like we're speaking the same language, and that came from the cosmos. You know, it didn't come from, too much. Like Daryl, after we'd got together and played that gig together, he just called me up a few days later. He's like, "Oh, let's get together and jam." And I called him up. I'm like, "Sure." That was like the flow, and as we've been doing that, this is the magic that happens. And so you have to believe first. And that means you not just believe, but you start to have to act on these feelings. So you act on these feelings and you really believe, but the belief is going to get you to act on your feelings. Then you're acting on those intuitive feelings, and then after some time, sometimes it's right away, and some other times it takes some time, but as you're doing it, you'll start to notice the patterns locking up. And those are the waves that ripple in from the ocean. And we want to catch those waves with those people, because as we come together, we become way more powerful. It's synergistic, right? When you're in with people in the light that are already shining brighter than 10,000, you're multiplying that light as we come together in these groups. And when we speak and we talk about and we go into the logos, the deep conversations of love and logic and reason and truth and humility, knowing we're trying to speak for the Lord. And that's what we do together. Like it's an interesting thing. We're always talking about this stuff. So it's like so natural. We're all so drawn to this. And I realized it's just like in celestial prophecy. There is also this dark entities chasing these groups around that were gathering this information and having all of these synchronistic and magical events happening the universe is leading them to. And this is actually what happens. I really also believe that there's other people watching the people that walk the narrow path. Like there's darknesses that are always trying to watch the light. So when they see us come together, they can become more fearful. And I really believe there's unconscious ones, and that's especially like people that were in our old lives that want us back down there with them. They're kind of unconscious in their actions, so it's hard you can't judge them. They just know not what they do. We forgive them for that. However, there is conscious darkness that keeps tabs on people like us, and that's a real truth, because we are going into tribalism here in Canada sooner or later, and I believe we have time to create a tribe, a benevolent tribe of powerful people that can be the meek that inherit our community first, for example, and will be the 144,000 that are going to be part of the governance of our communities, provinces, and cities, and countries. We're going to on-the-ground governance soon. And I see the people that are lining up for that governance. And these are not the meek. These are not the powerful and virtuous that are going to inherit the earth after this war. And I know it's not yet time to swing at any serious targets. So it is time for us to come together. The Rainbow Warriors of the Hopi Prophecy, we're coming together. That should be what we should be focusing on right now. There's people focused on the government, and they're dealing with Justin. They're dealing with the corruption that we've been through. This isn't going resolved. I can tell you that much. We can always keep on them and make sure they're pushing forward. However, we need to do the on-the-ground stuff. The more we get distracted with all the worldly stuff going on, the less that we're here on the ground, and the less we're noticing all the darkness that is encroaching here on the ground, and all the people waiting to fill the vacuum after the other evil falls out. So I call out to all of you warriors, take a look what's going on the ground. What's happening in your community? How can you get involved on the ground? What kind of companies or what kind of products can you bring to this new world that can take us off of this globalist plan? That's what we need to work on right now. And the best way to stay grounded is just stay away from all this news stuff. Both sides are there to manipulate our brains. If you are gonna get involved with all the politics, kind of be humorous about it, because remember, it's a big joke, right? It's not real. It's not what's really going on. And it's good for us to stay up to date on it, because we need to sometimes help people ground themselves after watching too much news, so we can understand the games they're playing, so we know how to talk people out of the insanity they spread. But don't spend too much time at it, and don't take it seriously. Take God seriously, and then God will take you seriously. And then you'll really start noticing those voices. But maybe don't tell people that you're listening to voices, because they can misinterpret that for actual voices in your head. No, it's a dialogue that everybody has going on. They just don't notice it. It may seem like just one voice at first, Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder. But as you notice and you call out, say, the weak Jiminy Cricket, you'd be like, oh, hey, Jiminy, it turns out there's a demon and an angel on my shoulder. And you have that dialogue with yourself so you can come up with a higher truth. This isn't voices in your head telling you to go do these evil things. No, it's nothing like that. It's you negotiating. Are you going to listen to the weak voice, or are you going to listen to the strong voice? Anyways, God bless you all, and much love.